Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cloud Blue podcast. Matt, we are live. Thank you for joining me. Thanks, everyone, for watching on Saturday evening. Aston Villa 4, Nottingham Forest 2. Matt, a nice afternoon at Villa Park.
Yeah, just same, wasn't it? It's a rare home win for Aston Villa these days. Honestly, I thought first half we were absolutely magnificent. I thought we played some brilliant football and got ourselves in such control. And then very Villa, wasn't it? Those 2 minutes either side of half time, and then probably the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, where what should have been a kind of fairly straightforward procession just became a little jittery nightmare until the fourth goal was the most just breathed a sigh of relief then, because I thought don't blow this from this position. But yeah, I thought for the most part I thought we were quality, and overall we obviously thoroughly deserved the win.
Yeah, so close to my pre-match prediction as well. I went 4-1 on the Inside Bodymore show me and Jodgin did yesterday. And the guy sitting next to me, as he got in literally a couple of minutes before kickoff, had a little bit of a chat. He's like, "Oh, what do you reckon today? What do you think?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm pretty confident we'll win." I'd love it to be one of those days where this sounds rubbish, by the way. I swear, I said this is true. I'd love it to be one of those days where it's comfortable and you're 3-0 up at half time. And he laughed and he's like, "Oh yeah, good one." So when we were 3-0 up, almost 3-0 up at half time, I was like, "Oh yeah, my prediction is definitely coming in today because I've even got the first half spot on. Never mind the full time result." But we had to make it slightly difficult, don't we, in a classic Aston Villa fashion, or the Aston Villa of old almost, would be to make that difficult. I like the idea of Emery finding the game too easy and thinking, "I'll take Pau Torres off, give him a chance, give him a goal at half time, give him a goal at the start of the second half, just to make this a bit difficult for ourselves because it's too easy." But yeah, certainly a little bit nervy. We always knew, didn't we, that Forest were good going forward and have got goals in them. So it did feel like one of those days that Villa would also have to score 3 or 4 goals to actually get something from the game, and it turned out to be that. Forest are no mugs, but certainly nothing special at the back, and that's why they're down where they are. And sadly for them, if they do get a points deduction, I think they'd be in real trouble of trying to stay up. But you know, what should have been a really comfortable game by the 30-minute mark, when you think this is going to be a 4-0, 5-0, didn't quite go like that. But 3 points are 3 points, and it was still a very, very good performance, wasn't it?
I thought it was going to be a 5-5. Say again.
Especially the first half. I mean, the second half, I wouldn't say was an amazing performance, but the first half was, we were really, really good.
Yeah, like I said, I did think it was going to finish 5-5. I don't know if there's any kind of precedent for that in this fixture. But I think it was just playing through that. They got their tails up. They've actually gifted us that fourth goal that's taken the pressure off. And I didn't think we were pressing that aggressively for that goal. But, it's no coincidence that we've got possession in that area. And we did it against Fulham as well, didn't we, for the first goal at Fulham. And I think, I think Tielemans in that role, I think, he's not always 100 miles an hour, but I think when he's on it and the moments when he's on it,
doesn't he?
Yeah, he probably he's a moments player. I thought he was so. I know we're moving out of the chronological order now. I thought he was so unlucky for that one that hit the post. But I thought some of the football that we played first half, probably particularly the first goal, I just thought I don't know whether I use the word sumptuous often enough in my life or on the Cloud Blue podcast, but I just thought it was brilliant. And I've come back and watched the highlights on YouTube, and I don't think they do that first goal justice, because they always clip them really tight, don't they?
Yeah.
And hopefully match of the day or whatever, the extended highlights package, we'll see McGinn's role in that early on, because he could have played a simple ball back to a defender. But I don't know who was marking him, but he's not just sent him to the shops, he's sent him all the way back to the ball ring with he's done a little kind of drop of the shoulder, and then he'd won a McGinn twist. And that slide rule passed through to Bailey. Obviously, Bailey's kind of had his man on toast, nutmegged him. And I thought it was a really, really brilliant goal. I can't remember which goal it was, but Dwight York scored like a simple kind of tapping like that, early 90s, where it was a really flowing move and it was just so incisive. Might have been against Sheffield Wednesday at Villa Park. I don't know. The fact fans will probably have a better idea than me, but it's one of those moments, that goal, where most goals, or we did pre VAR, you actually it's almost like kind of animalistic, isn't it? That kind of that cheering. That first goal today was more I'm actually going to stand up and literally applaud that, just kind of because it was just so well worked and so well crafted. But I don't think that was the only one. I think all of the goals Fourth one was probably a bit scruffier, but I thought all of the goals were really, really well crafted, and it's a hallmark of Unai Emery's Aston Villa that we can work those openings and we can capitalise upon them as well. So yeah, it was. That's why I'm so relieved. Obviously, I'm relieved that we got the 3 points, but that's why I'm so relieved that having almost laid out that statement for most of the first half, and I know it's only Nottingham Forest, and I know they're going to struggle to bring in the Premier League next season, but having laid out that statement, it would have been a real kind of catastrophe if we would have undermined it by throwing it away.
Just on that first goal as well, something you didn't mention whilst talking through that very well. Double nutmeg from Bailey. So that didn't, you obviously Watkins is pointing at him in the celebration. It's all him. I've only tapped it in, which is fair. And at the time, you think, yeah, it's a great run. He's done really, really well to beat the man, get the ball across. It's only when you see it back on the big screen on the highlights since that he nutmegs the man to get past him, and the ball across to Watkins is through the defender's legs as well. Just two real great moments of magic and things that we've said about Watkins before. He's a dangerous player now. Whenever he gets on the ball, you don't think, oh, he's going to run down a blind alley or he's not going to be able to beat his man and it's just going to go backwards. Pretty much every time it goes out to Bailey on that right-hand side, you think he's going to do something. He will create something here because he's just dangerous. He's absolutely full of confidence at the moment. There's obviously a certain Mo Salah, obviously, that plays on the right-hand side. Is he, besides Salah probably, the best right-sided forward? Maybe not the best besides Salah, but is he up there in the conversation as this season particularly being one of the best right-sided forwards?
I think so, in the form that he's in, because he's not, when we signed him, and probably for the first season and a half, I know it was a kind of like running joke with me and my nephew and my son that anything Bailey would do, he was more of a trick and flick merchant, wasn't he? Anything that he'd do was, we'll have that on his highlights reel on Instagram. He's done nothing else, but he'll have that on his highlight. He's done a drag back or a Cruyff turn or whatever. But look at his numbers now. He's actually delivering. Not only can he do that, not only is he easy on the eye and aesthetically pleasing with everything that he does, or most things that he does, but he's actually delivering. He's whether it's he doesn't actually for a wide player. You probably tell me now. You probably say that, Matt, you're wrong if you just scroll back through the last couple of months. You'll see differently. He doesn't actually cross the ball. That in terms of crossing a ball. Like kind of elevating it off the floor, and it's precise. It's precise delivery and precise cutbacks into space, and listen, that's that. To do that, you've got to have people who are making intelligent runs and getting into space as well. But yeah, listen, I don't. What's the word? I probably don't consume Premier League football the way that possibly most of our viewers and listeners do. So I couldn't say, beyond doubt that he's absolutely the best. But what I can say is when I see him, and he's up there, in terms of players now have played that position for Aston Villa during my time watching them. And it might be this might be a narrow sample. He needs to do this over 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons. But he's doing it at a really top level now. And I'm all for it. Love it.
Just to a bit of housekeeping. Firstly, can you just edge a little bit closer to your mic, a little bit quiet when you lean over here and go off on a tangent? It's better to stay essentially where you can. Couple of comments.
Yes.
Fact fans are correct. Apparently, well, you're correct according to fact fans. It was Sheffield Wednesday. A couple of people in the comments have said for the Dwight York goal that you mentioned earlier. So fair play to your memory for still being there. The second comment, I don't have it in front of me specifically because there's so many. Asked about why is Matt's head flashing. Have you got the indoor lights on, like the light bulb in the ceiling?
Can we go change them?
If you can, yes, that is why that will be flashing. Different refresh rates and whatever else.
This is the bit where I should have put trousers on, shouldn't I, for this bit?
Oh, I'd love it if you don't have trousers on. Not in a weird way. Oh, yeah, it's got trousers on. Okay, right. That should stop the flickering baldness. You can't hear this, so it's great. Big bald git. Oh, you can't hear it.
I can hear it.
Oh, can you? Oh, dear. That's me getting sacked in the morning. The other comment I wanted to refer to quickly, and looks like your internet may have gone, if not it's mine, which that would be a real disaster. There he is, he's back. Asked whether that is the biggest fluffy duster behind you, the multicolour thing. Is that correct, or is that something else? Also, how can you hear me when you're not wearing the headphones?
They're not working, are they? Clearly,
Exactly. So don't put them back in then.
Just for show.
Oh, what a shambles this podcast is. There we go. Headphones gone. Is that oh yeah, it's a fluffy duster. Wow. Excellent. Okay. You can put that back now if you want. Right, back to the game. I'm glad we got those comments out of the way. Right. Talked about the Bailey goal. We talked about his contribution. You talked about McGinn a little bit there, just in the specific kind of the longer extended highlight of that opening goal. But generally, just as an overall point, how good is John McGinn as a footballer? The guy next to me said when he plays well, Villa play well, and that's something that, again, we've said on the podcast a lot. When he's on it, it really does set the tone, doesn't it? Of everyone feels that energy from him.
Yeah, my dad was talking as we walked back up to the car, saying, has there been a footballer with a kind of lower centre of gravity, really, just because the way he can spin and move in such tight spaces, and he's magnificent. I don't know. Is there another footballer like him, Dan?
Messi, in terms of low centre of gravity? I don't think in terms of what he, like, when you look at him, you know, I think obviously it's different when he's wearing a football kit, but if you saw him in normal clothes, I don't think you'd say he's got like the build of a footballer, and he's spoken about like the way he is and how that's kind of hindered him a lot during his career as well. That he's not the biggest in height. He's kind of got this big backside. He doesn't look like this slim, athletic footballer. Obviously, he's very, very fit, but he doesn't have that typical build. If you look at players across the Premier League, I don't think physically, in terms of appearance, there are any other players like John McGinn and the attributes that allows him to bring onto the pitch as well. I don't think there's many players that can do what he does in terms of holding the ball up and bursting forward with such energy. To do that from central midfield and kind of be able to be all over the pitch going both ways is, yeah, he's such a unique footballer in that sense.
Yeah, I just think it's a really good combination. He's learned to use the gift that God's given him. You know, he's big backside, and you know he's managed to use that and find the way. You know, if you're given that set of physical attributes, he's optimized how you use them.
Yeah. It's almost like he's done well with what he's been given.
Yeah, but done exceptionally well with. But not only that, has managed to harness that with that kind of drive and that real kind of passion and energy to improve. He still seems like he's got an everyman kind of quality, that he doesn't let anything particularly go to his head. You know, he's quite a level-headed character, but he brings all those leadership skills as well. So I think he's the complete package. And you probably disarm me a little bit, because I was going to say one criticism today. I didn't think his dead ball delivery was particularly good from corners, but that's like, do you know what I mean? That's
his delivery for Douglas Luiz's header was brilliant, and that's on his wrong.
Well, yeah, so he's put it on his right peg and absolutely. Well, you were queuing up for that. I think Longley was there, and I think Torres might have had a sniff of it as well. So, but yeah, no, he's a magnificent beast, isn't he?
Just as a, maybe I shouldn't say this. I don't know. This is going to be a stupid point, probably, but this is what this podcast is, isn't it? Especially when you're here, I always go down these stupid tangents. Like, you bring the worst out of me for this. There's a point when, I don't know when, during the game, McGinn comes over to Emery and they're speaking as captain and manager, you know, leader and captain and whatever else. It just reminded me of this like theory. I'm absolutely going off on a stupid tangent here. Have you ever heard this kind of like abject theory that if, say, obviously we speak English, that's the language I'm going to use. If a lion could suddenly speak English, we wouldn't be able to understand what they say, because their frames of reference are so vastly different to ours. The way they live their life, it's, even though you'd understand the words, like what they're saying just would be complete gobbledygook. I almost feel like looking at Emery and McGinn, like, how do them two understand each other? Do you know what I mean? Like, McGinn's such a thick Scottish accent, Emery's Spanish or Basque accent, or whatever you describe it. The way they speak is so different, but they look at each other and they're talking on the touchline. It's like they know exactly what they want from each other. McGinn is a brilliant captain, something I didn't know he had in his locker, 2 or 3 years ago. And when I was watching it, like, he goes off and delivers the instructions to the rest of the team, and he helps everyone, and they clearly understand each other. But just got this thing in the back of my mind, just like, imagine like away from football, these two people meeting. I just feel like they would never ever have anything in common at all, because they come from two vastly different backgrounds.
You don't think that Emery has deep fried Mars bars in his tapas? You don't think?
I doubt that very much. Yeah, just a stupid thought that I had in my own brain, and should probably leave it to myself.
Just on stupid thoughts, and this is a little bit random, maybe not quite so random as yours, but before kickoff, when the teams come out and there's ball on plinth and all that kind of stuff, and the mascots come out.
Yeah, ball on plinth. That's a good saying, isn't it? Ball on plinth.
Ball on plinth. Yeah. You know what I actually thought about ball on plinth? That'd make a great cake, wouldn't it? For a football fan, a birthday cake, a big ball on plinth. This wasn't the point, but a big ball on plinth cake. You'd have your main cake on top, but you could almost have 2 or 3 or 4 different layers in the plinth, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So
this is probably the most time that the plinth has ever been used in a Villa podcast, but I'm enjoying it.
Well, I'm just thinking, Dan, because I know your wedding's not that far away, so I don't know. A ball on plinth cake could probably cost about 30 grand now, wouldn't it? To be honest, so
like the rest of the wedding, yeah.
Yeah, the point I was making was, what was the point I was making? When the teams come out, each player or the home players normally have a little kind of mascot they hold hands with. The referee mascot came out with a referee today.
Did he?
And the officials, yeah. And I'm thinking, did he get the short straw or what? Or is he a little kind of wannabe ref? That, you know, he's kind of he's written into the Stockley Park, thought it's just my dream. I don't even know who the ref was today. It was another newbie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's my dream to walk out holding hands with a ref. And I'm thinking, if it was your son, the little lad had a Villa kit on. So if he was, he probably should have had a little bit more of a word in the ref's ear. But I just thought,
excellent.
You know,
I didn't even notice that.
It's a great treat walking out with one of your heroes, but if you're walking out with a ref, you're like, is that a punishment? Has he done something wrong?
Do you know what it might have been? Was it a Villa fan, the mascot?
Yeah.
Do you know what it could have been? And maybe this is, if anyone is watching this and that was your child, please get in touch, because now I'm fascinated whether this is the scenario. Did you see that? And by the way, comments about like talk about the football. We'll get there, but come on, we're enjoying ourselves here. Emi Martinez had his kids, didn't he? That's who he was with. He had pictures with them as they came off.
Emi Martinez hates kids then?
Had his kids.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, has he got kids? I wasn't sure, but the kid ran away, had daddy on the back, right? So Emi Martinez is there with his kids, and there was 3. So maybe there is 11 mascots generally. They've been given the package, but Martinez has got his kids. So the other kid, there was a short straw. It's like, go with the referee. Like, you pay, you've got to go out there. Maybe that was the scenario. Martinez's kids have ousted this other child, and he had to go out with the referee.
Listen, what I would say as disclaimer is, I'm sure this kid, we're spending too much of the podcast discussing it, and I'm sure he's had a brilliant time, and he's been on the pitch, and he's walked out with Aston Villa. So I don't want to undermine the day.
Oh, of course not.
But I just thought it was a bit strange that you're thinking, oh, yeah, I really want to walk out with a ref. That's what I'm dreaming of. So.
I reckon that was just a knock-on effect of Martinez's kids being there. I really do. I'd love that to be the case in a roundabout way. Do let us know if that was your child. Right, let's talk about football then. Douglas Luiz, a brace for him, pulls out the fishing rod celebration. Everyone's absolutely loving it. A header for his second goal, I think, and a really nice finish as well for the first one, if that is the right way around. Again, we've talked about him a million times about how good he is, but again, kind of the similar things we say about McGinn. If Douglas Luiz is on it, we're on it as a team. And I think it's interesting the way that he's kind of adapted to the loss of Kamara as well. That McGinn is obviously playing alongside him centrally, but a lot of the time when we play the ball out from the back into midfield, a lot of the times that is Kamara and getting the initial ball and then going on to Luiz, and then he'll kind of create a move from there. Luiz is now the guy who's getting the first ball off the defence because McGinn isn't kind of central. He's playing Luiz's role in a roundabout way. So it's a slight difference for Luiz in terms of he's always the one getting that first ball from the defence, where he's normally just rely on Kamara to deal with that. But also can still be Douglas Luiz. It's not like he's being hamstrung to a position that he doesn't really want to do and he's having to sit on the halfway line or whatever. He's still bursting forward. He's still getting involved. He's still got 2 goals today. Like a brilliant, brilliant footballer. I think it's 10 goals for the season. I don't know whether that's all competitions. It must be. And 9 of those are at Villa Park. Just unbelievable numbers from a central midfielder player.
Yeah, did you see that corner when McGinn absolutely whacked it at him? Did you see that? That's just popped into my mind. He zipped it into him so fast and he knocked him off his feet. He couldn't control it, bounced off him, and Bailey was offside for it. Did you see that?
Yes, yeah.
Random routine. But away from that, the thing about Douglas Luiz, again, he just seems to do things in such an unfussed, unhurried way. And it's like I said, chatting to my nephew on the way back again, and it's almost, I think he was chatting to somebody anyway. It's almost as if Emery sometimes, I get the impression, I'm sure he doesn't. This is Premier League football. This is super competitive football. But he almost says to them, "Go out there and just play the way you train. just just play the way you play. Go out with it. Try and be as kind of let me absorb the pressure. You just go out there and express yourself. That's the way I see that team playing, and I think Douglas Luiz sums that up more than most. How many times has he scored with his head?
Oh, good question. I don't know. Is the answer off the top of my head? I don't know whether I can find out. I can
can't
try.
recall another one, but somebody will probably say, Matt, he scored 3 weeks ago with his head.
Yeah, I feel like he probably has.
I think he has, but I don't know when it was or who it was against. Because he's obviously not going to be. He's taking a lot of the dead ball, a lot of the corners, so he's not going to score many like that. And then
scored some penalties, hasn't he?
Somebody will know anyway. Somebody with a better recall than us.
FB Ref has got a list of his goals, and I'm only glancing at this very quickly. I think this is all of his goals since joining Villa. There's 20 odd, so that would probably be about right. And it's only noted as right foot and left foot. Doesn't include obviously today's game. So you might be right that that's the first header, unless I'm reading the stats page wrong, and maybe the comments will correct us. I feel like he probably would have scored a header because it just feels like he would have been in the box and maybe just kind of nodded one in somehow. Yeah. But I'm not sure for certain, and the stats there say that's the first header. But as I said, I might be misinterpreting the website there.
No, he took it well though, and I think for the
bullet header
for the second goal as well. We've not mentioned him yet, but Jacob Ramsey, since he's returned, I still don't think he's quite there. I think his final ball, and his final ball, I'm going to talk about how great his assist was in a minute. But
I'd say he's about 90% there.
Yeah, but I think just having him back there and being able to carry the ball the way he does, he's so brave as well. I think Jacob Ramsey is one of those ones because we've been doing so well without him. You forget what he brings, and I think it's a real treat to have him back in the team, to be honest. And again, I just think it's this almost whether it's an attitude thing. I don't see too many of our. I see our midfielders all do their job and all do their job really, really effectively. But don't ever see them getting agitated or irate or whatever. They're almost like, yeah, this is our stage. A bit like the Roy Keane, postman, you don't applaud a postman for delivering letters or whatever. They just think, well, yeah, this is our job. This is what we do. We're not going to get too het up about it because that would affect the way we do it. And I think we've got lots of players, but particularly those three midfielders, McGinn, Luiz, and Ramsey, who just go about their business in a really, really effective, efficient way. And like I said, I was bemoaning Ramsey's kind of final ball not quite being on it. Whether Luiz is giving him a call or whatever, how he's managed to work that ball to Luiz for the second goal was quality as well. It was another one of those kind of moments where you think we're a really, really good footballing team at the moment. And so we've got so many kind of little partnerships that are in tune with everybody. So you know what the person to the right of you is going to do. You know what the person 10 yards in front of you is going to do. And it's so well drilled. And we've had so much success from it that it's almost instinctive now. And that's the listen. I've had that feeling a lot through the development stage of the last 18 months. But I think in the first half today, that was properly evident.
We're going to talk about a couple of concerns, which I don't think are concerns, but we'll do those in a second. Just on Ollie Watkins, 26 games in the Premier League, 14 goals now, 10 assists. That's 24 goal contributions in 26 games, which is unbelievable. Two questions.
Before we go on, just actually, somebody's right. Putting the messages, Dougie gets proper arsey, I suppose.
Yeah, that is. He would be the one,
when the ref didn't give him much protection today, and he gave somebody a good shove, and then the ref gave him a free kick. So yeah, I do acknowledge that. Perhaps I'm seeing this through Clown Bruce pink string, but I don't see him as one of those real kind of.
No, it's like a hot.
Probably because he's ours. I don't see him as an agitator. Really, I see him as I'll let my football do the talking kind of thing. Sorry, anyway. Go on.
I think he would get frustrated within himself and what's happening, but I don't think that he would then take that out or use that energy in the wrong way and start going flying into tackles and being wound up kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Ollie Watkins, unbelievable numbers. Two questions. Will he break the 20-goal Premier League tally hoodoo that we've had for a million years? And is he world class, Ollie Watkins? Would you go as far to say world class?
I hate, because is Rio Ferdinand or something caused thing by saying Saka's not world class?
I don't know. Who cares what Rio Ferdinand says?
Well, I know you've been digging out Rio Ferdinand with your Douglas Luiz fishing celebration. Oh, no, it was his Samba celebration, wasn't it, or something,
Yeah.
something to that. Can I say something, Dan, without upsetting you? I really don't care.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what the definition is.
Of world class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's open to interpretation, isn't it?
He's in the world and he's class. So, but does world class mean you have to be the single most best person in that position? In the world?
I think. Well, this is again, this is kind of personal in terms of who is a legend, what is an icon, all those how you differentiate that category. I would perceive world class to be if you are a fantasy manager with an unlimited budget and you can build an 11 and you can handpick the best squad available. That's what quantifies world class. You could go into any team, you could play for any club in the world and still play well. That's how I would define world class. I think he's a very, very, very good striker, and I think we've called him elite and whatnot before for podcast titles and stuff. Would I class him as? Could he go and play for Man City and score 1 million goals? And could he go and play for Real Madrid tomorrow and win the Champions League? Not quite sure on that. I think he's very, very good for Villa specifically, and he's a very good forward. So I don't think I would say world class, but he's, in terms of the Premier League out and out strikers, you've got Haaland and then you've got Watkins. I think that's fair. I think he's right up there for Premier League number 9s / number 11s for Watkins, technically.
Yeah, listen, he's brilliant. He's exactly what we need at the moment. And I think these signs that he's learned and he's developed, I thought, he's on the ball today. He was being a little bit more confident, expressing himself, taking players on, dropping the shoulder a little bit more. I don't mind whether he's world class. From a selfish point of view, I don't mind whether he gets a sniff of England or not. It doesn't bother me one bit. For the lad's own sake and his own development, I think he deserves it. And like you said, there's not many who can live with him in the Premier League at the moment in terms of his contributions, let alone people with an English passport who can live with him. So I think he deserves it. But what's he on goal wise for the season? Because I keep looking at the Premier League one because I'm wanting to close into the all time, all-time Premier League one. But how many goals has he scored this year?
It's 14 goals in the Premier League, and I think it's either 9. I think it might be 19 in all competitions, possibly 20, but I think it's 19. So there was the record of Dwight York's goal contributions, which is 27. So unless he gets injured for the season, God forbid, or doesn't score another goal, he's absolutely going to get more than 27 goal contributions. He only needs 3 more. Could get a hat-trick against Luton and do that. So he will be our kind of most productive player, I suppose, since Dwight York. That is definitely going to happen. Will he get the 20 Premier League goals, though? He needs another 6 to get that.
How many games you got left? 13?
12 or 13. A goal every other game.
Yeah, I mean, previously over his time at Villa, he sometimes goes, 5 or 6 games without scoring and then has mini bursts. So, he's scored last week, scored this week. So maybe maybe this is one of those mini bursts. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility for him to score another 6 goals. I think if he does or he doesn't, he's still had a fantastic season. But yeah, I thought I can see little signs. I think his work rate's always been good. His goal output since he's been at Villa has always been pretty good. I think he just feels he looks a little bit kind of more comfortable in possession and looks like he's got the ball under control a little bit more. He's one of those ones where, again, he's another one of those players, and we've got several of them at the moment, where we need to get Champions League now. We need to compete at the top end. We need to compete in finals to keep pace with his ambitions. And it's one of those kind of catch-22s, isn't it? Because he needs to deliver, and all of our big players need to deliver each week to get us there. We need to have the platform for them to get there. But no, I can't speak highly enough of him, and I think I've never been a kind of a Watkins basher. Sounds like a kind of real ale, that doesn't it? I've never been a Watkins basher, but I don't think I quite realised how special a player we had until perhaps the last kind of 12 or 18 months.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, he's massively improved since Emery came, 100%. He's only scored 3 goals in the league when Emery arrived. up until the January when we sold Danny Ings, and we were like, ooh, not sure about that. And he's been unstoppable since, basically. And yes, he has these periods of not scoring, but more often than not, he will score. When he does, he goes through these periods of scoring most weeks. Like you back him to get a brace against Luton and pop up with another against Spurs, and then he might have another couple of quiet games, but then we'll come back again, and he's vitally important to us. One of the concerns then was from the comments, and it was about clean sheets. Again, in our preview, I said Forest will score because they're dangerous, and we don't look like keeping lots of clean sheets at the moment. Would that be a concern for you, or is that the kind of that positive spin that, well, when you're creating so much and scoring so many goals, doesn't really matter whether you concede one or two if you're going to score 3 or 4?
I suppose it matters in the games when you don't win, doesn't it? If we'd have kept the clean sheet against Manchester United, we'd have won the game 1-0. So I think that my concern is, like last week at Fulham, I thought we were in control, and then they've scored a goal out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's a bit jittery and a bit nervy, and that's kind of happened again. That goal just before halftime, I thought it was quite a cheap goal to concede. And then having done that, and we'll speak about the Torres and Chambers, I'm sure, in a minute. But having done that, and then knew that we'd lost Torres, who'd gone off with a kind of as a precautionary measure, and Chambers, he was our 4th, 5th, 6th choice centre half.
6th, I think.
A couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think Emery's openly admitted that he was happy to let him go. I think there's some interest and had the chance to go and didn't want to go, or it didn't suit him or whatever. So he's come in, being asked to play Emery ball, being asked to play it against a pretty pacey Forest front line who by that stage have really got nothing to lose. So they can put us under the cosh a little bit. Rusty, because he's hardly played it. Has he made? Was that his first appearance of the season? Has he played in
the
Europe?
Conference League? I think, against Hibs, maybe one other.
So he's rusty, he's nervy,
he's also unwanted. Like,
he knows.
Footballers, he knew he was told in the summer. Emery said you can leave. He was told in January you can leave. There was options there from Championship clubs, I think, in the January window, and he chose to stay, or the offer wasn't right, or whatever. I think Emery said he chose to stay, but maybe that the move wasn't right, the money wasn't right, or whatever. He knows he's not wanted.
Yeah, sorry. So if you combine those factors, he's rusty. He knows his surplus to requirements. He's got to play.
Not as good as the others.
Well, yeah, he's not. He's got to play to that level. I think it was quite a little bit of a baptism of fire, probably that first 10 minutes,
especially conceding straight away.
Yeah, I think he's settled, and I think I think that was where it was on, and I think they did. It was on Dougie and it was on John McGinn to try and give him those easy avenues to make the pass. And I don't think Forest made that particularly easy, but it was, you could just see him thinking, "Oh God, I've got the ball here. Well, what am I going to do with it?" Basically,
he did make a run into midfield, didn't it? At one stage, it was like, "Oh, he's got a bit of confidence to go up."
Yeah, for one stage, yeah. So, but listen, this is the true test of Emery now, and we're all kind of had our head in our hands a couple of weeks ago after we lost to United and we lost Boubacar Kamara. We've responded with 2 really impressive wins. And people might say, "Well, it's only Fulham."
Performance was good as well.
Well, yeah, it was. And I think we've got to trust this manager to do his best with what he's got. A bit like McGinn and the body he was being given. We've got to trust him to do his absolute best with what he's got. And more often than not, he finds answers. And if that means Callum Chambers has to deputise for a couple of games, it wouldn't have been any of our preferences. We wouldn't have cried too many tears if he'd have gone completely. But just back Emery to try and get a tune out of him, really.
Yeah, exactly that. The Pau Torres injury, I suppose, is the other concern that I wanted to raise. There's a tweet from John earlier from Emery's presser. He said he had some pain, so that's why we needed to change him. And there was another tweet that I haven't got in front of me. It was basically like it was precautionary, and Emery didn't seem too concerned that it was anything more. I think it was a pain in the back of his leg. So I don't know if that's hamstring area, but he just came off at half time. I actually thought if it was 3-0, I did think, maybe we'll make changes because the game was won, and it felt that way anyway. Forest hadn't really threatened until they scored. But when you see him gone, you go, oh dear, like if he's out for another period of games, he's massively important to us and we will struggle without him. But he walks back on to sit at the bench 5 or so minutes into the second half and you think, well, he doesn't look injured. Maybe he's just been sick at half time or something like that. So you would hope that even at 3-1, obviously it went 3-2 by the time Pau Torres had walked back out again. But even by half time, they probably felt we're still in control of this. We should still win this game. If he's feeling a bit of something, it's better to save him for that 45 minutes, still win the game, and he's fit for Luton next week, than aggravate an injury in the second half and he's out for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So fingers crossed it is as precautionary as Emery portrayed it to be. And he's back next week. I saw a tweet from somebody that I'm going to nick saying that Unai Emery's brilliant at lots of things, but medical diagnosis is not one of them. And when he's kind of said, oh, things are fine, it should be a week or whatever, it's turned out to be worse than that. So let's hope he's more spot on with this one and it is just a small precaution rather than, oh, yes, this could be more serious. I think there is talk of having a scan. So you'd like to think that hopefully that comes up all clear and he's back. We've got a week now, haven't we, till Luton, no midweek game. So hopefully he's back because we all know he's massive.
I think that's a manager's prerogative, though, isn't it, in terms of the medical updates that they give him. I remember Dean Smith saying that Jack Grealish will be back next week or whatever, and then he was,
For 6
probably,
months.
Yeah. When you see those kind of like comedies in hospital when somebody's kind of got an all-over body cast and that kind of thing. But yeah, like I say, what we have got to contend with, haven't we? We're going to have and I know we've had a couple of FA Cup games, but we've had 6 weeks, 2 months, maybe longer without European football. So we've got that dual thing now, and the further we advance in that competition, the size of the prize becomes a bit. Prize where it lies, then. The size of the prize becomes a bit more. It's going to be more. It's going to be. We're reaching the business end of the season on 2 fronts where it's going to be super intense, and our squad is so thin.
Yeah,
at the moment.
It's going to be an absolute miracle for Unai Emery, isn't it? If we finish 4th, what an unbelievable job that is. Just to get Villa to 4th with a full fit squad would be a great achievement. To do it with Callum Chambers and Longley at the back when you've had Diego Carlos injured, Konsa missing, Pau Torres missing, Tyrone Mings getting an ACL at the start of the season, Emi Buendia getting an ACL, Boubacar Kamara getting an ACL, Jacob Ramsey not being available for a long time, Alex Moreno not being available for a long time, Luca D missing. Pretty much the whole team has had a fair few lengthy injuries to still be 4th. Whether we get there or not, he's done absolutely unbelievable, Emery, and the squad as well. The players who had to kind of come in and deputise have all done very, very well. But if he actually gets us over the line.
I don't know whether you know this, Dan. We don't need to find it out now. But where are we in the disciplinary table? Because I think we've done quite well to avoid suspensions as well, really, considering the injury list that we've had.
It's up to 10, isn't it now? 10 yellows for a suspension. I don't think anyone is near that. Without checking, I would only guess that somebody's on
just curious
or something.
Can I mention prize where it lies? Now I've just said it to myself.
Quickly, because I want to talk about Man United.
What do people want to talk about? Prize where it lies, Man United? Don't know. Did you watch it today?
I missed it, but I was in my seat, so I don't know how that happened.
You know what's happened? They managed to put it on the side of the Trinity. Not the Trinity.
On the Diony side,
They put it on the Witten side instead. And they're interviewing Adil Ray and somebody else by the tunnel about the Villa Foundation. So they've done prize where it lies, but they've tried to sneak it under the radar. So nobody knows about it.
Yeah. I'm thinking, mad, isn't it?
I mean, people are paying the money for that. I mean, the bits either side of it, the 45 minutes either side of it, you can take or leave, can't you? People are paying the money for that, and they've not made a big fanfare
about it. I saw the big thing. I feel like Chris Kamara at Portsmouth that I've missed the red card. I saw him bring it, Jeff. I saw him bring the big banner out and put it on the other side, and that sparked my memory to think it was normally this side. So that was already weird. Yeah. And I kind of got distracted by looking at the tunnel, and Adil Ray's there, and they're talking about this, and I was kind of like not watching that, but I was invested in that. Yeah. And I looked back, and the big board thing had gone, and I was like, oh, maybe they didn't have time and they put it away. They actually did the game.
They did it. I mean, anybody who missed it, I can assure you that they were as bad.
All crap as normal.
As they usually are. Somebody on Twitter said, do you think it helps people with it being on that side, the right footers being on that side? And I said, I'm a left footer anyway, so I don't really care. I'd manage to shank it out of play regardless of what side it was. But I've got a note to Villa about this. Okay, listen, I've even written this down.
I'm sure they definitely care.
Note to Villa, Don't put prize where it lies, on the side it can hide, with no sound in the ground. Okay?
Oh,
Do you want
what
to
is
talk
this
about Man
podcast?
United?
Oh, yeah. Lovely, isn't it, when Man United lose? It's all as satisfying as watching Aston Villa win is. It's almost as satisfying to see Man United lose, isn't it? Says more about me than anything, probably. Just typical, isn't it? I quite enjoy that we're playing at the same time because I'm keeping a track on it, especially when I feel like our game's won. I've kind of got my phone, Premier League app, Man United game. How are they doing? Oh, they're losing. Oh, brilliant. Love this. They get back into it with Maguire, who, I don't know if anyone's seen it, he should have been sent off in the first half for a tackle, so he shouldn't even have been on the pitch to score the goal anyway and get them back into it. And you think, oh, typical Man United, they're going to get something out of this. But even so, we've done our bit. We're winning. Even if they draw, that's still a good result for us. Opens up the points gap to 6 or 7 points. 9 minutes added time at Old Trafford when Man United are drawing, of course. Give them everything they can. When they're winning at Luton last week, it's 4 minutes. This week, when they're level pegging, it's 9 minutes. I get a notification goal in the game. Alex Iwobi, 97th minute. Oh, absolutely love it. Everyone around us absolutely buzzing with it. Stadium starts singing about Man United. Everyone knows what it means.
I didn't like that bit.
Did you not? I didn't join in, but
I didn't like the stadium singing about Man United.
Everyone hates him, don't they?
No, listen, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I don't know. Nothing to do with them now. It's what we do now.
Fourth on 52 points with a 21 goal difference. We won 16 games this season out of 26, which is great. Tottenham, obviously, they've got a game in hand because they've not played this weekend because of the Carabao Cup final. So they've got to squeeze in a game with Chelsea at some point. And Tottenham's schedule isn't, obviously, they've got no Europe, but they play 3 or 4 big teams in a row in April. So when they squeeze in Chelsea, who knows? I'd rather be in our position, though, with points on the board. It's a 5-point swing on Spurs in 5th. It's an 8-point swing again on Man United in 6th. And dropping out of European football entirely to 7th. I mean, nowhere near going to there. Brighton on 39 points. We're on 52. So European football is guaranteed for next season anyway. We're almost getting to the stage where it feels like top 5 is getting towards, not being a guarantee, but we're in a brilliant position. The fact that they're 8 points behind us and they've beaten us twice in the last, 6 or 7 weeks is madness. They'd be on 38 points if they hadn't beaten us twice. Barely scraping mid-table. That's how bad they've been, and they're still somehow in the running for it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously today with us winning and them slipping up has restored the 8-point gap that we had before we faced them a couple of weeks ago. So that's a good thing. It almost doesn't quite, but it almost cancels out
effectively,
that defeat, if you like. But on the flip side of that, it's like 2-0 up at Old Trafford, play better than Man United at Villa Park. Even if we'd have only taken a point from each of those games and denied them the 6,
4
if
points.
you like, we've had 2 points each or whatever, that would have. But it's when we play Man United, I'm stuck as a kind of 90s teenager or whatever. So I don't like Manchester United because I think they just when we threatened to be good, they were better and kind of went on and built a dynasty. So I'm still a bit, and they took Dwight York and Mark Bosnich and etc. So I've always got a bit of a chip on my shoulder about them. But that's when we play them. I'm not really that bothered when we don't, because it's up to us what we do now, which has proven
it's in our hands now.
They've beaten us twice, and we still got this 8-point cushion. So only we can decide whether that's whether we build on that or whether that gets eroded. I don't really care whether they what they do really. But yes, I did have a little smirk on my face when we got that notification and that last-minute goal or 9 minutes in stoppage time goal went in the different net that we were expecting. But yeah, what do you think? I know this is probably how long have we rattled on, Dan?
45 now.
We better go in a minute. Luton next week. What's your thoughts on that?
Luton is not going to be easy by any means. I'm not going to say now take a draw, but Luton at Luton is not an easy game. But you still got that context of, yes, Luton have been good and way better than anyone expected, but they're still on 20 points or wherever they are. They're still a poor Premier League side, and Villa should have the quality to beat them. If things go the way you would think they would on paper next week, we should be talking about an 11-point gap to Man United. and kind of not being guaranteed fifth, but they play Man City next week at the Etihad, and we play Luton. So if the football gods align, we should win and they should lose again, really. And if it is an 11-point gap this time next week, and then we play Spurs, we're in a brilliant, brilliant position for minimum fifth place, never mind fourth. And then we can start looking ahead at what Arsenal are doing and looking ahead rather than looking behind. But Luton will not be easy. They're good from set pieces. They've got that kind of fighting spirit. They're scrapping for every point. Whatever cliche you want to throw towards it, yeah, it won't be an easy game. But I'll still back us now that if you kind of isolate every game in its own thing, have Villa got enough quality to beat that Luton side? Yeah. So if we're on it and Pau Torres is fit, we should be winning next week.
Yeah, we should do. We should do. And again, you know, if United spring a surprise and they get their result next week, just do what we can. Just do our bit, basically. Somebody in the comments has just put Kendrick was a teenager in the 90s. That's more unbelievable than United getting in the top four. That was everything Villa. So thanks for that. I was just going to hang on to. I don't know whether you can see
you sent me.
No, I ain't showing you that one yet. I found this one.
Other way, a bit closer. Oh yeah. You've sent me that one as well. Yeah.
Look at that. Come here, man. Like handsome. I don't know why I'm wearing a Wickham Wanderers night dress.
Did they have coloured cameras in the 50s?
Unbelievable. No, that's a watercolour drawing. That is.
50s is too far. Should have gone 70s. Too far. 50s. Not.
Yeah, that's done by No, that was a drawing done by the court artist. Was that? I'm just trying to think. Was there anything else?
No, that's it. I think we talked about the points gap and stuff. And you're right. You take one game at a time. And if we see how we do at Luton, we see how United do at City. Spurs play Palace next week, and then obviously we play Spurs at Villa Park. And again, we'll look at this further down the line. But that kind of 7-day period of Ajax Spurs is almost season defining, isn't it? We either are out of Europe and Spurs are on our heels for top four, or we're firmly in the top four because we've beaten Spurs and we're through to the next round in European competition. Like the beginning of March is massive and an exciting time. I look at that with potential of we can beat Ajax, we can beat Spurs, not kind of fear of what might happen. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting end to the season, isn't it? We're in it now. This is it.
Yeah, I think the Conference League one against Ajax is season defining because if you lose, you're out. So I think if you lose to Spurs, we've shown we lost to Newcastle and we lost to United at Villa Park, and some of the doom mongers amongst us thought, the wheels have fallen off, but we proved that the wheels haven't fallen off. Or if under Emery, if one of the wheels falls off and he tends to put it back on quite quickly on a claret and blue bandwagon towards glory. So yeah, I don't want to build that week up too much. I can't cope with the stress, mate, to be honest. So let's just take each game as it comes.
Okay, understood. Right, on to Luton then next week. In terms of this week's content, there'll be a possible slight change to the schedule. We are religious on uploading a podcast every Monday, a Q&A show, generally me and John. That may still be Monday, but it could be Tuesday this week because, Matt, we are filming an interview on Monday. So I'm going to be snowed under with going to shoot that. It's in person as well, so we're giving it the full works. Do you want to tease who it is, or should we be totally coy about it and not say a word?
No, leave it under wraps. Leave it under wraps. It's a former claret and blue favourite, which is vague enough for people. They'll find out, won't they? I'm looking forward to it anyway.
Yeah, maybe one for a certain era.
Yeah, it's not Peter McParland.
It's not Dean Smith. He's the one that everyone asks us for all the time. So it's not him. Not Peter McParland, not Dean Smith.
Yeah,
somewhere between those two.
Spoiler.
Right. So we'll be filming that Monday. That episode, that interview will be out next week. My Q&A with John will be out at some point next week as well. It could be Monday evening. It could be Tuesday. And then we'll build up to Luton at the back end of the week as well with another post-match show. It's on TV. 5:30 kickoff next Saturday, so we'll probably be on the full time whistle after that one. So
I'll probably be at the pub, Dan, just so you know. So you'll have to drag in one of your casts of understudies because I'm going to be getting drunk. Okay. I think.
Understood. He's so disrespectful to the others, but there we go.
I thought on the Munglat cast, to be fair.
Oh,
So
yeah,
one of
that's
the other ones.
All right, let's call it there. Matt, thanks for joining me this evening. Always longer than anticipated, but an enjoyable chat as always. Thanks for those that have watched along live. We appreciate you as always. If you're one of those ones that are catching up, you can scroll down to the YouTube comments and share your thoughts as well. Any guesses on the interview, that'll be handy as well to see if anyone can actually get it. And if you're listening on podcast platforms, then leave us a review. They're very helpful as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you Monday, Tuesday, and probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Just look out for me at the next home match. I'm going to be walking out holding the referee's hand. Okay, so.
All right. Thanks for that.
Ta-da.
All right. Bye-bye.